King's Landing baked under a merciless sun, the tourney grounds a cauldron of dust and bloodlust. Oberyn Martell, the red viper of Dorne, twirled his spear, its venom-glazed tip catching light. Across the arena, Gregor Clegane, the mountain, towered, his greatsword a slab of death. The crowd's roar faded as Oberyn's eyes burned with purpose. Vengeance for his sister Elia, raped and murdered at Harrenhal. Tyrion Lannister's fate hung on this duel, but Oberyn fought for Elia's ghost. "You killed her," Oberyn hissed, circling, his silks swirling. "Confess, Clegane, before you die." The mountain's helm muffled a sneer. "I'll crush you, snake." He charged, sword cleaving air. Oberyn danced aside, spear nicking Clegane's thigh, drawing first blood. The crowd gasped, sensing the viper's agility outmatched brute force. In the royal stands, Cersei Lannister gripped her goblet, her green eyes venomous. Tywin beside her calculated while Jaime's white cloak hid his unease. Oberyn struck again, his spear piercing Clegane's vambrace. Blood seeped and the mountain roared, his swings wilder. "Elia Martell." Oberyn shouted, voice cutting through the din. "You raped her, slew her children." He feinted left, then drove his spear into Clegane's side, the poison swift. Clegane staggered, his greatsword drooping. Small folk cheered, drawn to Oberyn's fury, while nobles whispered of Lannister shame. Clegane's final charge was desperate, his blade a blur. Oberyn rolled beneath it, springing up to thrust his spear through the mountain's gorget. Black blood sprayed, venom doing its work. Clegane crashed to his knees, choking. "Say her name," Oberyn demanded, twisting the spear. The mountain's laugh was a death rattle. "Never, snake," he collapsed, the ground shaking. The arena erupted, small folk chanting "Viper." As Cersei's goblet spilled, her face a mask of rage. "By the god's judgment, Tyrion Lannister is innocent," the High Septon proclaimed. Guards unshackled Tyrion, who rubbed his wrists, eyeing Cersei's glare. Oberyn approached, his spear over his shoulder. "You're free, imp," he murmured, voice low. "But watch your back, Cersei's claws are sharp." Tyrion's mismatched eyes glinted, his smirk wry. "I know her better than you, viper." The dwarf's gratitude was laced with suspicion. Tywin stood, his gaze cold as Casterly rock. Oberyn's victory was more than a duel, it was a blow to Lannister power. He leaned to Jaime, whispering, "Watch the Martell, dawn grows bold." Jaime nodded, his golden hand twitching. Harrenhal's ghosts, Elia Rhaegar stirring guilt. Cersei's voice cut through. "This is no justice," she hissed, but Tywin's grip silenced her. The small folks' cheers followed Oberyn, flowers tossed at his feet. Varys, in the crowd's shadows, watched with a spider's smile, his spies noting every noble's whisper. A Dornish agent slipped beside him, passing a sunburst coin. "The viper strikes true," Varys purred. "The game shifts." The agent vanished, carrying word to Sunspear. Oberyn's triumph had lit a spark, and King's Landing hummed with unrest, the small folk singing of Ilya's avenger. Oberyn strode from the arena, ignoring the adulation. Ilya's killer was dead, but no confession eased his pain. Cersei, Tywin, and their ilk still breathed, their hands stained with Rhaegar's blood. In Sunspear, Doran awaited, his plans a web Oberyn barely trusted. A child pressed a sun-embroidered cloth into his hand, its sigil warm. "For you, Elia," he whispered, gripping it. The viper's strike had drawn blood, but the war for Dorne's justice and Daenerys's distant dragons loomed on the horizon. The black cell's damp chill clung to Tyrion Lannister as he staggered into torchlight, his wrists raw from shackles. Oberyn Martell's spear had slain Gregor Clegane, freeing him from Cersei's noose, but King's Landing's shadows held new dangers. The red viper awaited in a dungeon alcove, his silks stark against stone, spear leaning beside him. Tyrion's mismatched eyes met Oberyn's, wary of the man who'd risked all for Ilya's vengeance, not a Lannister's life. "You're a tenacious imp," Oberyn said, tossing Tyrion a wineskin. "I thought Cersei would gut you before I struck." Tyrion caught it, gulping Dornish red, its bite sharp. "She tried," he rasped, voice hoarse from disuse. "Your spear's timing was impeccable." Oberyn's smile was a blade's edge. "I fought for Elia, not you. Harrenhal's debt is unpaid." Tyrion nodded, sensing the viper's fire. Gratitude was no shield here. "What's your game, Martell?" Tyrion asked, wiping his mouth. "You didn't dance with Clegane for my charm." Oberyn leaned close, voice low. "Flee, imp, Cersei's claws sharpen and Tywin's no fool. Pentos offers shadows to hide you." Tyrion smirked, masking unease. "Running's my talent, but to where?" "Sunspear to toast your victory." Oberyn's laugh was sharp. Dorne's no place for lions, free cities suit you. Tyrion's mind raced. Oberyn's advice was sound, but Martell's didn't aid Lannisters without cause. Elia's murder, Rhaegar's fall, Dorne blamed his kin, and Tyrion was no innocent. "I'll consider it," he said, pocketing the wineskin. Oberyn's gaze lingered, weighing him, then he turned, spear in hand, leaving Tyrion to the dungeon's echoes and his own scheming. In the Red Keep, Cersei paced her solar, her gown trailing like a lion's mane. "That viper mocks us." She spat at Jaime, wine sloshing. Tyrion's free, conspiring with him. Jaime, in his white cloak, gripped his golden hand. "Oberyn won fairly," he said, voice tight. "Harrenhal's ghosts, Elia, Rhaegar stirring. Tyrion's likely fled." Cersei's eyes flashed. "Fled, he plots our ruin, find him." Tywin, in his solar, was colder, his quill scratching orders. "Oberyn's victory stirs Dorne," he told Kevan, maps spread before him. "We must leash them." Kevan frowned. "A marriage alliance?" Tywin's eyes gleamed. "Perhaps, but first we watch." He sent ravens to Casterly Rock, summoning gold, and to Pentos, seeking Tyrion's trail. Oberyn's spear had struck deeper than Clegane's heart. King's Landing buzzed below, small folk whispering of the viper's justice. In Flea Bottom, a drunkard sang, "Ilia's avenger slays the beast," earning cheers. Varys, gliding through alleys, met a Dornish spy, her sunburst pendant hidden. "The city phrase," he purred, passing a scroll. "Oberyn's spark burns bright." She slipped him a coin, vanishing. Varys' game was double-edged, feeding Dorne while serving Cersei. Tyrion, in a smuggler's den by Blackwater Bay, weighed his path. Pentos beckoned, but Cersei's spies were relentless. Oberyn's words, "Flee, stay sharp," rang true, yet trust was a trap. Jaime's silence at his trial, Cersei's hatred, Tywin's disdain, they fueled him. "I'm no lion," he muttered, fingering a stolen dagger. Pentos offered sellswords, perhaps a chance to strike back. Oberyn, riding south to Sunspear, felt Ilia's pendant warm against his chest. Cersei's rage, Tywin's schemes, Tyrion's freedom, they were pawns in Dorne's game. Doran's web awaited, and Daenerys' dragons loomed across the sea. The small folks' cheers followed him, a tide of fury and hope. "For Elia," he whispered, spurring his horse. The viper's strike was but the start, and the lions would bleed for Harrenhal's sins. Sunspear's golden spires blazed under dawn's scorching sun, casting shadows over cheering crowds. Oberyn Martell rode through, his spear still stained with Gregor Clegane's blood, small folk tossing sunburst cloths and chanting Viper and Elia. His victory had reached Dorne before him, a spark for vengeance smouldering since Ilia's murder at Harrenhal. Yet Oberyn's triumph felt hollow. Clegane's death brought no confession, only a laugh that haunted him. In the old palace, Prince Doran Martell awaited, his gout-swollen legs cushioned, eyes sharp despite his frailty. "You've stirred Dorne's heart, brother," Doran said, voice smooth as silk, "but fire consumes." Oberyn tossed his spear aside, pacing. "The Lannisters slaughtered Elia Doran. Cersei and Tywin breathe while her ghost weeps. I'd burn their throne." Doran's fingers tightened. "And risk Dorne, we play a subtler game." Oberyn's laugh was sharp. "Subtlety didn't save Elia or Rhaegar, Clegane's dead and Dorne's ready." He leaned close, voice raw. "The small folk chant my name, let's march." Doran's gaze was steel. "They love a hero, but heroes fall, we need allies." He unrolled a map, pointing across the narrow sea. "Daenerys Targaryen gathers dragons in Meereen, she's our path to justice." "Dragons," Oberyn scoffed, his silks swirling. "A girl's dreams over Dorne's spears. Cersei's weak now." Doran's voice dropped. "Daenerys is Rhaegar's sister. I've planned since Harrenhal. Patience." Oberyn's fist hit the table. Elia had no patience when Clegane crushed her. The brothers' eyes locked. Old wounds raw, Oberyn's fire against Doran's ice, Ilia's death a shared scar. Outside, the sand snakes, Obara, Nymeria and Tyene, plotted in the water gardens, their voices sharp. "Father's victory is a call," Obara said, twirling her spear. "The Reach, Stormlands, they'll break from Cersei." Tyene, her smile venomous, nodded. "Poison in their courts works faster," Nymeria's whip cracked, "or a blade for Jaime." Their words swayed young lords, but older ones, like Lord Ironwood, urged caution, fearing Tywin's wrath. Doran summoned Oberyn to a private chamber away from spies. "Aryon's gone to the Stormlands," he revealed, "to sway Stannis Baratheon's lords. Quentyn sails to Daenerys." Oberyn's brow rose. "You move boldly for a cautious man." Doran's smile was thin. "And you'll ready our spears, but we wait." Cersei's erratic, Tyrion's in pentos, Varys whispers to us. He handed Oberyn a spy's report, detailing Lannister unrest. Oberyn burned the parchment, Ilya's pendant warm at his neck. Your web's tight, but Ilya's blood demands action. Doran's voice softened. And we'll have it through allies, not ruin. Oberyn relented grudgingly. I'll train our men, but my patience is thin. The small folks' cheers echoed outside, banners waving for Ilya's avenger. Sunspear pulsed with rebellion, its lords divided, its spears sharpening. That night, Oberyn stood on a balcony, stars bright above the water gardens. He clutched Ilya's pendant, its amber glowing. The small folks' songs fueled him, but Doran's caution gnawed. Daenerys' dragons were a distant hope. Cersei's weakness was now. He envisioned Jaime's blood, Tywin's fall. For you, Ilya, he whispered, gripping his spear. The Dornish flame burned, fed by his victory, ready to sear the Lannisters or consume Dorne in its blaze. In King's Landing, Cersei's paranoia grew, whispers of Oberyn's legend haunting her. Tywin's ravens flew, seeking Tyrion while Varys fed Dorne's secrets. The Game of Thrones shifted, and Oberyn's fire, kindled in Sunspear, threatened to engulf the Iron Throne, with Daenerys' shadow looming far across the sea. King's Landing festered under a sullen sky, its streets alive with murmurs of Oberyn Martell's triumph. The Red Viper's spear had felled Gregor Clegane, freed Tyrion Lannister, and cracked Lannister supremacy. In the Red Keep, Cersei Lannister paced her solar, her golden gown trailing, eyes blazing like wildfire. That Dornish snake shames us, she hissed to Jaime, who stood by a window, his white cloak heavy. Tyrion's free, plotting with him. Jaime's golden hand twitched, his voice taut. Oberyn won by law, Cersei, Tyrion's likely in pentos. Her goblet slammed down, wine splashing. Law, my kinslaying brother walks because of that viper. They mock Ilya's death at Harrenhal. Jaime flinched, memories of Elia and Rhaegar's fall stinging. He'd failed them then. Now Cersei's rage threatened to burn their house to ash. In the Tower of the Hand, Tywin Lannister sat, quill scratching, reports of Dornish unrest before him. Oberyn's victory is a spark, he told Kevan, his voice cold as Casterly rock. Dawn grows bold. Kevan frowned, studying a map. The small folk sing of Ilya's avenger, dangerous. Tywin nodded, penning orders. We'll leash them with diplomacy. He drafted a trade offer for Dorne, a feint to mask his spy's true work. Recall Jaime, Kevan asked. Tywin's eyes narrowed. He stays. Cersei needs watching more than Oberyn. Tyrion's escape gnawed at him. The imp was cunning, and Oberyn's fire threatened chaos. Tywin sent ravens to fortify Casterly Rock and track Tyrion in the free cities, his mind a steel trap. Oberyn's spear had struck deeper than Clegane's heart, and Dorne's rebellion loomed, the city seethed below. In Flea Bottom's taverns, small folk toasted the viper, singing, Ilya's justice slays the beast. A septon preached against Dornish sin, but crowds ignored him, drawn to Oberyn's legend. Varys, gliding through alleys, met a Dornish spy, her sunburst pendant hidden. The city frays, he purred, passing a scroll. Oberyn's flame burns. She slipped him a coin, vanishing into the night. Varys' game was layered, feeding Doran's secrets while serving Cersei. The throne teeters. He whispered to another shadow, his smile sly. The small folks' songs grew bolder, mocking Cersei's faltering grip. A fishmonger shouted, the viperal spear the lion's next, earning cheers. Tywin's spies noted the unrest, their reports warning of rebellion's spark. Cersei, alone, summoned Qyburn, her twisted maester. Find Tyrion, she spat, wine staining her lips. And Oberyn, his whores, his kin, anything to crush him. Qyburn bowed, eyes gleaming. Their secrets will bleed, your grace. Cersei's paranoia swelled, her dreams haunted by Oberyn's spear and Ilya's screams. Tywin's calm infuriated her. She saw weakness where he saw strategy. Tywin met Grand Maester Pycelle, demanding the faith's loyalty. The small folk love Oberyn, Tywin said. Silence them, Pycelle stammered. Their songs spread, my lord. Ilya's name stirs. Tywin's gaze was ice. Then preach fear or their septs burn. He dispatched Sir Adam Marbrand to guard supply lines, wary of Dornish raids. Daenerys' dragons loomed in his mind, a distant threat tied to Dorne's schemes. In a market, a bard sang of Oberyn's spear, children waving sticks as vipers. Ilya's avenger, a baker cried, tossing bread to singers. Tywin's spies scribbled, their reports fueling his plans. Cersei on her balcony clutched her goblet, the city's torches flickering below. "You'll choke, Oberyn," she whispered, her voice lost in the wind. The capital hummed with rebellion's promise, and the viper's flame, kindled by Ilya's blood, licked at the Iron Throne's roots. The water garden's pools shimmered under dawn's searing sun, a deceptive calm masking the sand snake's brewing storm. Obara, Nymeria, and Tyene, Oberyn Martell's daughters, gathered beneath a blood-orange tree, their voices sharp as steel. Oberyn's triumph over Gregor Clegane had set Dorne aflame, Ilya's murder at Harrenhal a rallying cry. The small folk sang of the viper, but his daughters craved action. Cersei's blood, Tywin's fall, vengeance for their aunt. Obara, broad and fierce, twirled her spear. "Father's victory shames the Lannisters," she said. "The Reach, Stormlands, they'll turn if we strike." Nymeria, lithe and lethal, coiled her whip. A blade in Jaime's heart would break Cersei. Tyene, her gentle face hiding a poisoner's guile, fingered a vial, or a drop in their wine, silent, sure. Their eyes gleamed, Ilya's legacy their fire. Oberyn joined them, his silks dust-stained from training. "You echo my soul, daughters," he said, pride in his voice. "But Doran preaches caution," Obara spat. "Caution, let Elia die, the Lannisters owe us." Oberyn nodded, Ilya's pendant warm at his neck. "They do. Will bleed their allies, Reach lords, Stannis Baratheon's bannermen." His spear glinted, a plan forming to honor Ilya's ghost. In Sunspear's halls, Dornish lords clashed. Lord Ironwood, grizzled, urged restraint. War risks Dorne's ruin, as with Rhaegar. Lady Dane, her violet eyes fierce, countered. "Oberyn's spear proves we can win." Cersei falters. The Sand Snake's presence swayed younger lords, their father's legend a beacon. Tyene moved among them, her soft words sowing rebellion, her poisons ready for traitors. Obara led a sparring match in the courtyard, her spear toppling a lordling. "Fight like father," she barked, grinning. Nymeria whispered to a captain, promising glory in raids. Tyene gifted a poisoned dagger to a brash knight, murmuring, "For Cersei's dogs." Their fervor spread, but older lords muttered of Tywin's gold and Cersei's wildfire, fear tempering their fire. Oberyn trained his daughters nightly, his spear clashing with Obara's. "Strike faster," he coached, parrying. "Nymeria, your whip distracts, use it." To Tyene he whispered, "Your poisons are Dawn's hidden blade." Their laughter rang, but Ilya's memory weighed on him, her screams, Clegane's laugh. "We'll hurt them," Tyene said, her smile deadly. Oberyn nodded, torn between vengeance and Doran's web. Word from King's Landing reached Sunspear. Cersei's paranoia swelled, Tyrion had vanished, and small folk sang of Oberyn. A spy reported Tywin's spies in Dorne, his trade offer a ruse. Oberyn burned the scroll. "They fear us," he told his daughters. "We'll choke their reach, sway Stannis' lords, starve Cersei." Obara's grin was fierce, but Tyene's eyes scanned shadows, wary of betrayal. That night, a scout warned of Lannister ships nearing Planky Town, a likely retaliation. Oberyn sent Nymeria to lead a raid, her whip cracking as riders rallied. "Burn their sails," he ordered. Tyene slipped poison into Obara's pack. "For their captains," she whispered. The Sand Snakes moved as one, their father's fire in their blood, Dawn's rebellion sharpening. Oberyn stood in the water gardens, stars bright above. Ilya's pendant glowed, her death driving him. The small folks' chants, "Viper, Ilya," stirred his heart, but Doran's caution lingered. Daenerys' dragons were a distant hope, Cersei's weakness was now. "For you, Ilya," he murmured, gripping his spear. The Sand Snakes stirred Dawn's soul, their venom ready to strike the lions and burn the Iron Throne to ash. Pentoses spice-laden hung heavy in a dockside tavern, a world away from King's Landing's reek. Tyrion Lannister hunched over sour wine, his mismatched eyes scanning for Cersei's spies. Oberyn Martell's spear had freed him from the black cells, slaying Gregor Clegane, but exile was a cage of its own. Jaime's silence at his trial, Cersei's venom, Tywin's disdain, they burned in him, Ilya's murder at Harrenhal a shadow on his name. He clutched a stolen dagger, its edge blunt but reassuring. Oberyn's words echoed, "Flee, imp, Pentos has shadows." The Viper's aid puzzled Tyrion, Martell's loathed Lannisters, yet Oberyn had risked all for Ilya's vengeance. A cloaked woman slid beside him, her Dornish accent sharp. "The Viper sends word," she whispered, passing a letter. Tyrion broke the sunburst seal, reading, "Join me, imp. Dawn rises, lions fall, bring steel." Tyrion smirked, burning the parchment in a candle's flame. "He thinks I'll be his pawn." The woman's eyes glinted. "He thinks you're cunning." Cersei's thrown phrase, "Choose a side." Tyrion leaned back, mind racing. Oberyn's rebellion tempted him, vengeance on Cersei, a spit in Tywin's face. But Dorne was a snake pit, and Tyrion trusted none, not after she, not with Harrenhal's blood on his kin. "Tell him I'll think on it," he said. The woman vanished into the crowd. Tyrion wandered Pentos's markets, stolen gold buying a sellsword's oath. Tycho, a grizzled captain, pledged 50 men for coin. "Where's the fight?" Tycho asked, honing his axe. Tyrion grinned. "Where my sister weeps." He imagined Cersei's panic when Dornish spears marched, her fear a sweeter blade than steel. Whispers of Daenerys Targaryen reached him, her dragons stirring in Slaver's Bay. A Targaryen alliance could crush Cersei, but dragons were fickle. Oberyn's rebellion was closer, real. Tyrion's hatred for his kin burned hotter than Daenerys's fire, yet trust was a trap. Jaime's cold stare, Cersei's trial, Tywin's scorn, they'd forged him. "I'm no lion," he muttered, eyeing Pentos's domes, mocking Casterly Rock. A merchant spoke of Stannis Baratheon's northern wars, Cersei's grip slipping. Tyrion listened, piecing the game. Varys' spiders surely watched, Tywin's gold stretching to Pentos. He needed sellswords, knowledge, a plan. Oberyn's offer was a gamble, but exile offered none. Tyrion's wit was his weapon, sharper than Tycho's axe, and Cersei's downfall its target. That night, on a balcony overlooking the sunset sea, Tyrion weighed his path. The Dornish woman's words lingered. "Choose a side." Cersei's spies hunted him, but Oberyn's fire offered purpose. He clutched his dagger, envisioning it in Cersei's heart. Dawn was a risk, but so was hiding. He'd play the Viper's game, his terms, wit over steel, vengeance over trust. In Sunspear, Oberyn trained his sand snakes, Ilya's pendant warm. Tyrion's escape gladdened him, a thorn in Cersei's side. Doran's web spun toward Daenerys, but Oberyn craved action. "The imp's clever," he told Obara, parrying her spear. "He'll bite if baited." Obara grinned, Nymeria's whip cracking nearby. Dawn's rebellion grew, and Tyrion's choice could sharpen its fangs. In King's Landing, Cersei's paranoia festered, Tyrion's flight fueling her rage. "He's with Oberyn," she spat to Jaime, wine staining her gown. Jaime, haunted by Elia, stayed silent. Tywin's spies sought Tyrion, their ravens darkening Pentos's skies. The small folk sang of the Viper, their chants a noose around Cersei's throne. Tyrion raised his cup to Westeros, a shadow beyond. "To you, Cersei," he whispered, venom in his voice. "May you choke." Oberyn's fire burned in Dawn, and Tyrion, the exiled lion, would stoke its flames, his wit a blade to carve the Lannisters' ruin. Sunspear's Tower of the Sun glowed under a blood-orange dusk, its mosaic dome casting shadows over Oberyn Martell's solar. Oberyn Martell strode in, his spear clinking, eyes burning with Ilya's unavenged death at Harrenhal. His victory over Gregor Clegane had ignited Dawn, but Cersei and Tywin still lived, their hands stained with Rhaegar's blood. Doran, seated in his wheeled chair, studied a map, his gouty hands steady. "Your triumph stirs chaos, brother," he said, voice soft but sharp. Oberyn slammed his spear's butt against the floor. "Good, I killed their mountain, I'll spear their lions for Ilya." His silks swirled, rage raw. Doran's gaze was ice. "And drown Dawn in war, vengeance blinds you." He tapped the map, pointing to Meereen. "Daenerys Targaryen gathers dragons." "She's our path to crush Cersei," Oberyn scoffed, pacing. "A girl's fire over Dawn's spears, I trust steel." Doran leaned forward, voice low. "Daenerys is Rhaegar's sister. I've planned since Harrenhal justice, not ruin." He revealed a letter from Quentyn sent to court Daenerys. "He'll bind her to us. Dragons will burn the Lannisters." Oberyn's fist clenched, Ilya's pendant swinging. "Ilya's ghost doesn't wait for dragons. Cersei's weak, Tyrion's fled, Stannis Baratheon rises. We strike now." Doran's eyes softened, but his resolve held. "And risk our people." Ilya's children died for haste. He unrolled a second map, the Stormlands marked. Aryon's gone to sway Stannis' lords, splitting Cersei's allies. Oberyn's brow rose. "You send my daughter into that storm," Doran nodded. "She's cunning like you, her success weakens the Iron Throne." Oberyn paced, torn between fire and guile. "Your sand snakes stir the lords," Doran continued, But war needs time. Cersei's erratic, Varys feeds us secrets, Tywin's spies crawl. He handed Oberyn a spy's report. Tyrion in Pentos, small folk singing of Ilia. Oberyn burned it. Your web's tight, but Ilia demands blood. Doran's voice was firm. And we'll have it through allies. Ready our spears, train your daughters, but let Arryn and Quentyn work. Oberyn gripped his spear, Ilia's memory clashing with Doran's logic. I'll drill our men, but my patience thins. Doran's smile was thin. Then compromise, brother. If Daenerys joins us, we win without ruin. The brothers' eyes locked, years of grief, Elia Rhaegar binding them despite their rift. Oberyn relented grudgingly, his fire tempered by Doran's ice. Outside, Sunspear pulsed. The sand snakes rallied young lords, Obara's spear flashing, Nymeria's whip cracking, Tyenne's poisons ready. Small folk wove sunburst banners chanting Ilia. Dornish lords split, some like Lady Dane backed Oberyn, others like Ironwood feared Tywin's gold. A scout reported Lannister ships near Planky Town, a shadow of retaliation. Oberyn smirked, planning raids with his daughters. In King's Landing, Cersei's paranoia grew, whispers of dawn haunting her. Oberyn plots with Tyrion, she spat to Jaime, wine staining her gown. Jaime, silent, bore Harrenhal's guilt. Tywin's ravens sought Tyrion, his spies watching dawn. Varys, in a shadowed tavern, passed a scroll to a Dornish agent. The Martells weave, he purred, Cersei's throne phrase. The agent vanished, a sunburst coin in hand. Oberyn stood in the water gardens, stars bright above. Ilia's pendant glowed, her screams echoing. Doran's plan, Daenerys, Arryn held promise, but Cersei's weakness tempted him. He envisioned Jaime's blood, Tywin's fall. For you, Ilia, he whispered, spear firm. The Dornish plot spun, a web of dragons and spears, ready to ensnare the lions or burn its weavers in the Game of Thrones. King's Landing's fog-choked streets buzzed with whispers of Oberyn Martell's triumph, his spear a dagger in the Lannister heart. In the Red Keep, Cersei Lannister paced her war room, her golden hair wild, eyes blazing with fury. The Viper's victory over Gregor Clegane had freed Tyrion, shamed her house, and turned smallfolk against her. That Dornish snake laughs at us. She snarled to Jaime, who leaned against a pillar, his white cloak heavy with Harrenhal's guilt. Jaime's golden hand twitched, his voice low. Oberyn's in Sunspear guarded, you'll ignite war. Cersei whirled, wine spilling from her goblet. War, he wages it, flaunting Ilia's name. Tyrion plots with him. Jaime's eyes darkened, Ilia and Rhaegar's deaths haunting him. He'd failed them then, Cersei's rage now risked ruin. Tywin won't approve, he warned, her laugh was sharp. Father dithers while dawn spits, she summoned Sir Meryn Trant, her loyal Kingsguard. Take 20 men to Sunspear, she hissed. Kill Oberyn, quietly. Trant bowed, his scarred face eager. Your Grace. Jaime stepped forward. This is folly, Cersei. She ignored him, her orders sealed with a lion's ring. Trant sailed under a trade banner, his mission cloaked in lies, bound for Planky Town. In Sunspear, Oberyn sparred with his sand snakes, unaware of Cersei's plot. A Dornish spy slipped into the old palace, whispering to Doran. Lannister men approach, led by Trant, they seek the Viper. Doran's gouty hands tightened, Cersei's desperate, perfect. He alerted Oberyn, who grinned, spear ready. Let them try, Ilia's blood demands a dance. Doran's eyes narrowed, his web tightening. Trant's men crept into Sunspear at midnight, blades hidden. Tyene, ever watchful, spotted them, her poison needle poised. She warned Oberyn, who set a trap in a moonlit courtyard. As Trant struck, Oberyn vanished into shadow, his spear piercing one man's throat. Obara's spear felled another, Nymeria's whip snaring Trant's arm. Oberyn disarmed him, slamming him down. Who sent you? He growled, spear at Trant's neck. Trant spat. The Queen. Oberyn's smile was ice. Cersei's mistake. He spared Trant, stripping his armor, sending him back bloodied and shamed. Sunspear's small folk roared as Oberyn paraded the defeated knights, a public slap to Cersei. Word reached King's Landing, taverns erupting with laughter. The Viper humbles lions. A bard sang, small folk toasting Ilia's champion. Cersei's plot had crumbled, her weakness exposed. Tywin, in his solar, scowled at the news. Cersei's recklessness wounds us, he told Kevan, crumpling a raven's scroll. Dawn grows bolder. He sent gold to loyalists, fearing rebellion. Varys, in a shadowed alley, passed a scroll to a Dornish spy. Cersei's throne cracks, he purred. The Viper rises. The spy vanished, a sunburst coin in Varys's palm, his game weaving chaos. Cersei alone shattered a goblet, her reflection splintered in its shards. Qyburn crept in, voice oily. "I'll find Oberyn's secrets, your grace, his bastards, his loves." Cersei's lips curled. "Break him." Fear gnawed her. Oberyn's legend swelled, small folk chanting Ilya's name. Tywin's calm infuriated her. She saw cowardice where he saw strategy, their rift widening. In Flea Bottom, a drunkard sang. The Viper's spear for Cersei's tears, earning cheers. Tywin's spies reported unrest, warning of revolt. He summoned Pycelle, demanding the faith's support. "Silence these songs," Tywin ordered. Pycelle stammered, "They love Oberyn, my lord." Tywin's gaze was steel. "Then make them fear." Daenerys' dragons loomed in his mind, tied to Dorne's schemes. Oberyn, in Sunspear, gripped Ilya's pendant, Cersei's failure fueling him. "She trembles," he told his sand snakes, their weapons ready. "We'll make her scream." Dorne's fire burned brighter, and Cersei's retaliation had only sharpened its fangs, ready to tear the Iron Throne apart. The Riverlands glowed under a crimson dusk, its fields scarred by endless war. The Freys, weakened by Gregor Clegane's death in Tyrion's trial, clung to the twins, their power fraying. Oberyn Martell's victory had sent shockwaves north, and Tyene Sand, the Viper's subtlest daughter, slipped into the Riverlands as a scepter, her vials of poison hidden. Ilya's murder at Harrenhal drove her to break the Freys, fanning Dorne's vengeance against Cersei's allies. Tyene infiltrated a Frey feast at the twins, her gentle smile disarming Walder's kin. "Blessings," she murmured, pouring wine laced with widow's blood for Sir Aemon. He gasped, collapsing as panic swept the hall. Tyene melted into the crowd, her work done. Whispers spread, the Viper's curse struck. Small folk, sick of Frey treachery, muttered of Ilya's justice, their fear of Lannisters waning. In Sunspear, Oberyn read Tyene's coded note. "First rat falls," he grinned, Ilya's pendant warm. "My daughter's venom bites," he told Abara, sharpening her spear. Doran, in his wheeled chair, cautioned. "The Riverlands are volatile, stir too much and Tywin turns." Oberyn's eyes blazed. "Let him, Cersei bleeds and the Freys choke." Ilya's screams fueled him, Rhaegar's fall a wound unhealed. The Brotherhood without banners, led by Lady Stoneheart, terrorized Frey patrols in the Riverlands woods, their nooses tightening. Unknowingly, they aided Tyene's chaos. Sir Ryman Frey fell to a poisoned blade, his death blamed on outlaws. The Brotherhood burned Lannister supply lines, small folk cheering, chanting Viper, as if Oberyn rode among them. Tyene's work wove Dorne's fire into their rebellion unseen. At Riverrun, now Frey-held, Tyene posed as a healer, tending Sir Stevron. She mixed nightshade into his salve and he died raving. Rumors of Dornish curses spread, fraying Frey morale. "The Viper's kin haunt us," a guard whispered, eyeing shadows. Tyene's soft laugh echoed as she vanished, her poisons sowing discord among Walder's brood, weakening Cersei's grip. In King's Landing, Tywin read of the Riverlands' chaos, his face stone. "Dorne's hand moves here," he told Kevan, crushing a scroll. "Oberyn's victory emboldens them." Kevan frowned. "The Brotherhood's work." Tywin's eyes narrowed. "No, Martell poison." He sent Sir Adam Marbrand with troops to bolster the Freys, but the Riverlands' roads were deadly, ambushed by outlaws and unseen toxins. Cersei in her chambers raged at the news. "Oberyn's bastards plague us," she spat to Qyburn, wine staining her gown. "Find them," Qyburn bowed, his eyes sly. "Their weaknesses will surface, your grace." Cersei's paranoia deepened, haunted by Ilya's name and Oberyn's spear. Small folk songs of the Viper cut her, their loyalty to the throne unraveling. Varys, in a flea-bottom tavern, met a Dornish spy passing word of Frey losses. "The Riverlands blaze." He purred, handing a scroll. "Dawn's fire spreads." The spy gave a sunburst coin, vanishing. Varys' smile hid his game, stoking chaos while watching Cersei crumble. Tyene's poisons, the Brotherhood's raids, and Oberyn's legend tightened a noose around the Lannisters. Tyene hid in a Riverlands hamlet, sending Oberyn a message, Frey's falter, strike soon. She watched a Frey banner burn, small folk cheering. Ilya's name rallied them, Oberyn's victory a spark. Tyene clutched a vial, her father's fire in her veins. Daenerys' dragons were a distant hope, but Dorne's venom was now poisoning Cersei's allies. In Sunspear, Oberyn gripped his spear, Tyene's success thrilling him. "The lions bleed," he told Nymeria, her whip ready. Doran's web spun toward Daenerys, but the Riverlands' chaos was Oberyn's stage. The small folks' chants, Ilia, Viper, echoed, and the riverlands burned, Dawn's vengeance aflame to consume Cersei's crumbling throne or ignite a war to end them all. Storm's End stood defiant against a lashing rain, its ancient walls slick with the Stormland's fury. Oberyn Martell, cloaked in Dornish silks, rode into the keep, her mission sharp, turned Stannis Baratheon's bannermen to Dawn's cause. Oberyn's victory over Gregor Clegane had weakened Cersei's hold, and Doran's orders were to exploit it. Arryn, Sunspear's heir, wielded charm like her father's spear, but the Stormlands were a perilous game, Ilya's vengeance her guide. She met Lord Beric Connington in his coastal hall, torches flickering. "Dawn offers alliance," Arryn said, her voice warm, eyes holding his. "Cersei's throne cracks, join us and it falls." Connington, young and bold, leaned in, drawn to her beauty. "What does Dawn give?" Arryn's smile was calculated, her hand brushing his. "Spears, trade, justice for Ilya's blood at Harrenhal." His gaze lingered, Oberyn's legend sealing his interest. That night, Arryn seduced Connington, her whispers binding him. "Stannis fights north," she murmured, tracing his skin. "Back Dawn and your house rises." He swore loyalty, his men hers. Arryn's pulse quickened, not from desire but triumph. Doran's plan relied on such moves, but her ambition burned. Dawn could lead. She sent a raven to Sunspear, Connington ours, more to follow. Ilya's memory drove her forward. The Stormlands simmered with unrest. Small folk sang of Oberyn, their chants mocking Cersei. Arryn visited Tarth, meeting Lord Selwyn under a sapphire banner. "Stannis is iron," he said, cautious. "Why Dawn?" Arryn's eyes gleamed. "Cersei's wildfire threatens all." "Our spears are ready, stand with us." Selwyn, loyal to Stannis, offered neutrality, a crack in Baratheon unity. Arryn took it, her web growing. Word reached her of Stannis Baratheon's northern campaign, his red priestess burning foes. Arryn saw a chance, his absence left lords vulnerable. At Bronzegate she met Lord Buckler, offering Dornish blades. "Cersei's rule poisons," she said, voice firm. "Stannis fights for himself, Dawn for Ilia." Buckler, swayed by her resolve and Oberyn's fame, pledged archers, bolstering Dawn's reach. In Sunspear, Oberyn read Arryn's reports, pride swelling. "My daughter plays boldly," he told Doran, gripping Ilya's pendant. Doran, studying a map, warned, "She risks Stannis' wrath. His claim rivals Daenerys's." Oberyn scoffed, "Let them clash, we carve our path." Doran nodded, his spies tracking Cersei's moves, Quentyn's mission to Daenerys a distant hope. In King's Landing, Cersei raged at whispers of Dornish envoys. "Oberyn's whore-daughter woos traitors," she spat to Jaime, wine staining her lips. Jaime, haunted by Ilya's death, urged restraint. "Stannis is the threat." Cersei ignored him, ordering Qyburn to poison Arryn's allies. "Break Dawn," she hissed. Qyburn bowed, his dark arts stirring, but Cersei's desperation blinded her to Tywin's disapproval. Varys, in a shadowed tavern, passed word to a Dornish spy. "Arryn stirs the Stormlands," he purred, handing a scroll. Cersei panics. The spy slipped a sunburst coin, vanishing. Varys' game wove chaos, Arryn's moves threatening Stannis' hold. Small folk's songs of Oberyn grew louder, Ilya's name a rallying cry, Cersei's throne teetering. Arryn stood on a Stormlands cliff, waves crashing below, her silks whipping in the gale. Connington's men, Tarth's neutrality, Buckler's archers, her gambit gained ground, but Stannis loomed, a shadow to Dawn's sun. She clutched a letter to Doran, "Stormlands waver, send spears." Ilya's memory, Oberyn's spear, fueled her. Rhaegar's fall echoed in her blood, and Cersei's ruin was hers to shape. In Dawn, Oberyn trained his sand snakes, their weapons flashing. Arryn's success thrilled him, but Tywin's spies and Cersei's wrath loomed. "For Ilia," he whispered, spear ready. Arryn's gambit was Dawn's blade, poised to cut the Iron Throne or draw Stannis' fire in the Game of Thrones. Highgarden's rose-scented air cloaked Oberyn Martell as he slipped into the reach, his Dornish silks hidden beneath a merchant's drab cloak. The Red Viper, famed for slaying Gregor Clegane, moved as a shadow, his mission to sway House Tyrell against Cersei Lannister. Ilya's murder at Harrenhal drove him, her pendant warm against his chest. Oberyn's victory had cracked the Iron Throne's foundation, and the Reach's wealth could tip Dawn's rebellion. He met Margaery Tyrell in a moonlit garden, her eyes sharp despite her smile. "Your fame precedes you, Prince Oberyn," she said, offering wine. "The viper who felled a mountain." Oberyn bowed, charm honed. And you, Lady Marjorie, hold the Reach's heart. Cersei's throne trembles, join Dorne and we topple it. Marjorie sipped, wary. Tywin's gold binds us, why risk it? Oberyn leaned closer, voice low. Cersei's madness burns hotter than wildfire. Ilya's blood stains her house, Tyrion's escape proves her frail. Marjorie's gaze flickered, ambition stirred. Stannis Baratheon claims the throne, she countered. Daenerys' dragons loom, Oberyn grinned. Let them fight. Dorne offers spears now, not dreams. His words, woven with Ilya's memory, kindled her interest. Olenna Tyrell, the Queen of Thorns, joined them, cane tapping. Bold words, Viper, she said, eyes like knives. Tywin's spies crawl everywhere. Oberyn nodded, sensing her guile. Then we move first. Reach knights, Dornish spears, we choke Cersei's allies. Olenna's lips twitched. You're charming, but reckless, I'll consider it. Her approval was faint, but Oberyn swayed lesser lords with tales of his triumph. That night in a Highgarden tavern, Oberyn met Sir Loras Tyrell, Marjorie's brother, armor gleaming. The small folk sing of you, Loras said, offering ale, but Cersei's wrath is real. Oberyn clinked cups, smiling. Let her rage, Ilya's justice is sharper. Loras, drawn to Oberyn's fire, pledged knights, a crack in Tywin's web. Oberyn's shadow grew, his legend pulling strings, danger struck at midnight. Tywin's assassins ambushed Oberyn on a forest path, blades flashing. The Viper was swifter, his spear piercing one man's throat. The second grazed Oberyn's arm before a poisoned dart, Tywin's gift felled him. Oberyn stood over the bodies, blood dripping, Ilya's pendant warm. Tywin's reach is long, he muttered, but mine is lethal. His wound throbbed, a reminder of the stakes. Olenna's note arrived, spies watch. Leave at dawn. Oberyn burned it, resolve hardened. He met Marjorie again, her face pale. You risk much, she said, but Cersei's folly tempts me. Oberyn kissed her hand, calculated. Then act, lady, dawn waits. He slipped away, his merchant's cloak hiding the Viper's fire. Loras's knights a victory. In Sunspear, Doran read Oberyn's report, his gouty hand steady. The Reach wavers, he told Obara, Nymeria and Tywin, but Tywin's spies close in. Obara grinned, spear ready, let father strike. Doran's eyes narrowed. He will, but Arryn's Stormland's gambit and Quentin's mission to Daenerys are our blades. The sand snakes nodded, their father's shadow fueling them. In King's Landing, Cersei raged at the failed assassination, shattering a mirror. Oberyn mocks us, she spat to Jaime. Find his weaknesses. Jaime, haunted by Ilya, stayed silent, loyalty fraying. Varys in an alley whispered to a Dornish spy. The Viper eludes Tywin, he purred. The Reach tilts. Oberyn's escape fanned Dorne's rebellion, Cersei's throne trembling. Oberyn, riding south, clutched Ilya's pendant, his wound aching. Loras's knights, Marjorie's wavering, small wins, but Tywin's shadow loomed. For you, Ilya, he whispered, spurring his horse. The Viper's shadow had struck, and the Lannisters would feel its bite, Rhaegar's fall avenged or Dorne burned in the Game of Thrones. King's Landing's red keep shimmered under a cold dawn, but its halls seethed with dread. Tywin Lannister sat in the Tower of the Hand, quill scratching as reports of Oberyn Martell's schemes stacked high. The Viper's victory over Gregor Clegane had freed Tyrion, swayed Reach lords and stirred smallfolk, threatening the Iron Throne. Cersei's failed assassination in Dorne deepened the wound. Tywin's eyes, sharp as steel, plotted a countermove to crush Dorne's fire. He summoned Kevan, voice icy. Oberyn's legend grows. Arryn courts Stormlands, the Riverlands burn. We must bind Dorne. Kevan frowned, eyeing a map. Their spears sharpen. War looms. Tywin nodded, drafting a letter. We offer Tommen's hand to a Martell, a peace forged in chains. Kevan hesitated. Doran's cunning. He'll see the trap. Tywin's lips thinned. Then we arm for war while smiling. In Sunspear, Oberyn received Tywin's offer via a trembling envoy. He laughed, tossing the parchment into a brazier. Wed Tommen to Dorne, Cersei's bastard for Ilya's blood, he spat, gripping Ilya's pendant. Doran, in his wheeled chair, read the ashes. A feint, he said. Tywin tests us. Oberyn's spear gleamed. I'll send his envoy in irons. Sunspear's smallfolk cheered as he paraded the diplomat, a slap to Tywin's pride. In King's Landing, Cersei raged in her solar, wine staining her gown. Oberyn mocks us again, she shrieked to Jaime, his golden hand heavy. Father's letters fail while Dorne laughs. Jaime's voice was low. Your assassination sparked this, Cersei. Her eyes blazed. And you do nothing. Find Tyrion, kill Oberyn. James' silence deepened, Harrenhal's ghosts, Elia, Rhaegar eroding his loyalty, Tywin unmoved, fortified Casterly Rock, summoning gold and swords. He met Grand Maester Pycelle, demanding the faith's support. Small folk sing of Oberyn, Tywin said. Silence them, Pycelle stammered. Ilya's name stirs them, my lord. Tywin's gaze was steel. Preach fear or their septs burn. He sent Sir Adam Marbrand to guard Riverland's supply lines, countering Tyenne's poisons and the Brotherhood's raids. Varys, in a shadowed tavern, whispered to a Dornish spy. Tywin's marriage offer masks armies, he purred, passing a scroll. Cersei Freys. The spy slipped a sunburst coin, vanishing. Varys' game stoked chaos, feeding Dorne while serving Cersei. Small folk songs of the Viper swelled, chanting Ilya's justice, their loyalty to the throne unraveling like frayed rope. Cersei alone summoned Qyburn, voice venomous. Find Oberyn's bastards, his lovers, break him. Qyburn bowed, eyes gleaming. I'll weave a web, your grace. Cersei's paranoia consumed her, dreams of Oberyn's spear and Tyrion's smirk haunting her. Tywin's restraint enraged her. She saw weakness where he saw strategy, their alliance cracking under Dorne's pressure. In Flea Bottom, a bard sang of Oberyn's defiance, smallfolk tossing coppers. The viper spurns the lion, a fishmonger roared, earning cheers. Tywin's spies reported unrest, warning of revolt. He met Lord Baelish demanding funds. Gold buys loyalty, Tywin said. Baelish smirked. For now, my lord, Oberyn's fire spreads. Tywin's silence was a storm, his countermove a blade yet to strike. In Sunspear, Oberyn trained his sand snakes, Ilya's pendant warm. Tywin's offer was a jest, but his armies were real. He thinks to leash us, Oberyn told Obara, Nymeria and Tyene. We'll snap his chains. Doran's spies confirmed Tywin's muster, Arryn Stormland's gambit gaining ground. Daenerys' dragons loomed in Doran's plans, but Oberyn's spear craved Cersei's blood now. In the Reach, Loras Tyrell's knights wavered, Oberyn's shadow lingering. Cersei's throne teetered, and Tywin's countermove, diplomacy cloaking steel, met Dorne's defiance. Oberyn stood in the water gardens, stars bright, gripping his spear. For Elia, he whispered, Rhaegar's fall fueling him. The Viper's rebellion burned, ready to pierce the lion's heart or ignite a war to consume them all. Meereen's great pyramid towered over the sun-scorched city, its steps scarred by Slaver's Bay's blood. Quentyn Martell, Doran's second son, stood before Daenerys Targaryen, his Dornish silks damp with sweat. Oberyn's victory over Gregor Clegane had set Dorne ablaze, but Doran's plan rested on dragons, not spears. Quentyn held a sunburst-sealed letter, offering alliance to avenge Ilya's murder at Harrenhal and topple Cersei. Daenerys' violet eyes weighed him, unreadable. You claim kinship through Rhaegar, Daenerys said, her voice soft but edged, dragons stirring below. Why should I trust Dorne? Quentyn steadied himself, Doran's words guiding him. Cersei's throne stands on Ilya's blood. Oberyn slew her champion, our spears are yours. Daenerys' silver hair gleamed, her advisors, Barristan Selmy and Missandei, watching. Meereen bleeds, she said. My fight is here. Quentyn pressed on, Oberyn's fire in his blood. Westeros waits, Cersei falters, Tyrion's fled, Stannis Baratheon claims your crown. Dorne offers 10,000 spears, trade vengeance. He unrolled a map, pointing to Sunspear. Join us and Lannisters fall. Daenerys glanced at Barristan, who nodded faintly. Dorne stood with Rhaegar, Barristan said. They're true. Yet Daenerys focused on her freedmen, not distant thrones. Meereen's streets roiled outside, the sons of the Harpy striking from shadows. Quentyn glimpsed Drogon's wings overhead, Daenerys' power raw. Your dragons could burn Cersei's armies, he urged. Elia was my mother's sister, her death demands justice. Daenerys' lips twitched, intrigued. What does Dorne seek? Quentyn paused, Doran's goal clear, marriage, a throne. Partnership, he said. You rule, we strike. Daenerys rose, commanding. I'll consider it, Prince Quentyn. But Meereen's chains break first. She dismissed him, her mind on her people. Quentyn bowed, frustration gnawing. Oberyn's triumph rallied Dorne, but Daenerys was no pawn. He sent a raven to Sunspear. Daenerys listens, dragons sleep. Below, Viserion's roar echoed, a whisper of fire to come. In Sunspear, Oberyn read Quentyn's note, Ilya's pendant heavy. Dragons crawl, he growled to Doran. My spear's swifter. Doran, in his wheeled chair, studied a map. Patience, brother. Arryn sways stormlands, Tyene burns riverlands, Daenerys is our in-game. Oberyn paced, his sand snakes reports fueling him, Obara's raids, Nymeria's ambushes. Cersei's weak now, he said. We strike. In King's Landing, Cersei's paranoia festered, rumors of Dornish plots reaching her. Oberyn's kin slither everywhere, she spat to Jaime, wine staining her lips. Jaime, haunted by Elia, stayed silent, loyalty fraying. Tywin, in his solar, learned of Quentyn's mission via Varys' whispers. Dorne courts dragons, he told Kevan, voice cold. We crush them first. He sent gold to loyalists, his countermove tightening. Varys, in a Myrine's alley, met a Dornish spy, his smile sly. Quentyn stirs Daenerys, he purred, passing a scroll. The game shifts. The spy vanished, a sunburst coin in Varys' palm. In Meereen, Quentyn watched Daenerys rally her freedmen, her voice fire. He saw Rhaegar in her, Ilya's legacy alive. His mission was fragile, Dawn's hope tied to her dragons. In Sunspear, Oberyn trained his daughters, their weapons flashing. Quentyn's effort thrilled him, but Cersei's weakness tempted. Jaime's blood, Tywin's head, he told Tyene, her poisons ready. Doran's web spun toward Daenerys, but Oberyn's spear craved now. Small folk chanted Ilia, their songs are tied. The dragon's whisper was faint, but its fire could burn Cersei's throne. Quentyn stood on Meereen's walls, sea breeze sharp. Daenerys' caution tested him, but Oberyn's victory inspired. For Ilia, he whispered, gripping his sunburst sigil. Dawn's spears waited, and Quentyn vowed to bring dragons home or die in the Game of Thrones. Dawn's crimson sands burned under a relentless sun, concealing the sand snake's deadly strikes. Obara, Nymeria, and Tyene, Oberyn Martell's daughters, raided Lannister supply lines, their attacks venomous blows to Cersei's crumbling reign. Oberyn's victory over Gregor Clegane had ignited Dorne, Ilya's murder at Harrenhal their rallying cry. Near the Boneway, Obara's spear toppled a wagon, its grain spilling like blood. For Elia, she roared, riders torching the rest. Nymeria, cloaked in twilight, ambushed a caravan to King's Landing, her whip cracking skulls. Tyene, subtle as death, poisoned a supply camp's water, guards writhing under Dornish stars. Small folk whispered of the Viper's daughters, their raids starving Cersei's trade. In Sunspear, Oberyn read their reports, Ilya's pendant heavy. My girl's gut lions, he told Doran, voice fierce but shadowed by doubt. Doran, in his wheeled chair, traced a map, gouty fingers steady. Your raids wound Cersei, but Tywin's armies muster, he warned. Arryn sways stormlands, Quentyn courts Daenerys, patience. Oberyn paced, spear flashing. Patience buried Ilia, Cersei's throne cracks now. His heart warred, vengeance clashed with Doran's web, Rhaegar's fall a festering wound driving him. The sand snake's strikes spread fear. Lannister merchants shunned Dornish roads, their gold drying up. In King's Landing, Cersei raged, wine staining her lips. Oberyn's bastards choke us, she spat to Jaime, his golden hand tense. Your plot failed, Cersei, Jaime said, Harrenhal's ghosts, Elia Rhaegar gnawing him. Tywin plans better, Cersei's eyes blazed. Find Tyrion, break Dorne. Jaime's silence grew, loyalty fraying. Tywin in his solar, rid of the raids, face stone. Oberyn's daughters are thorns, he told Kevan, crushing a scroll, we uproot them. He sent Sir Adam Marbrand to guard supply lines, but Dornish sands swallowed patrols. Varys, in an alley, whispered to a Dornish spy. The sand snakes bite deep, he purred, passing a scroll. Cersei unravels. The spy vanished, sunburst coin in hand. Oberyn sparred with Obara in Sunspear, their spears clashing. Faster, he barked, parrying. Nymeria's whip snapped nearby, Tyene mixing poisons. Their fire thrilled him, but Ilya's screams haunted. Clegane's laugh, Harrenhal's blood. We hurt them, father, Tyene said, her smile lethal. Oberyn nodded, Doran's caution gnawing. Was vengeance enough, or would it burn Dorne? Small folk chanted Viper, Ilia, urging him on. A scout reported Lannister ships nearing Planky Town, Tywin's retaliation. Oberyn sent Nymeria to burn their sails, her riders swift. Tyene poisoned their barrels, ensuring death before battle. Obara guarded the prince's pass, spear ready. Oberyn joined them, his presence a war cry. Cersei fears us, he told his daughters, eyes blazing. We'll make her scream. The sand snakes grinned, their father's fury theirs. In the Riverlands, Tyene's poison still weakened Freys, fueling the Brotherhood's chaos. Arryn Stormland's gambit gained lords, Quentyn's mission to Daenerys held hope. Oberyn felt Dorne's strength, but Ilya's ghost demanded more: Jaime's blood, Cersei's tears. He stood on a dune, spear planted, wind carrying smallfolk songs. "For you, Elia," he whispered, gripping her pendant. In King's Landing, Cersei's paranoia deepened, Qyburn whispering of Dornish plots. Tywin's spies sought Tyrion in Pentos, their ravens darkening skies. Varys' game tightened, Dorne's rebellion a noose. Stannis Baratheon's northern wars loomed, but Oberyn's fire burned closer, threatening Cersei's throne. The sands of vengeance drank Lannister blood, Tywin's shadow looming. Oberyn's raids were a spark, Dorne's rebellion ablaze. Cersei's empire teetered, and the sand snakes struck without mercy, their venom a tide to drown the lions or consume Dorne in the Game of Thrones. King's Landing's red keep loomed under a storm-dark sky, its halls thick with fear. Cersei Lannister stood in her solar wine goblet trembling, her golden hair tangled. Oberyn Martell's victory over Gregor Clegane, the Sand Snake's raids, and Arryn Stormland's gambit had cracked her throne. "Dorne strangles us," she spat to Jaime, her voice raw. "Oberyn's spear mocks Ilya's blood." Jaime, in his white cloak, gripped his golden hand, silent Harrenhal's ghosts, Elia Rhaegar haunting him. "Your plots failed," Jaime said, voice low. "Assassins, spies," Oberyn laughs. Cersei whirled, wine splashing. "And you stand idle, find Tyrion, kill the viper." Jaime's eyes darkened, Ilya's screams echoing. He'd failed her then, now Cersei's madness threatened ruin. "Tywin plans," he said, turning away. Cersei's laugh was bitter. "Father's plans crumble while Dorne burns our allies." Her paranoia consumed her. Tyrion's escape a wound in the Tower of the Hand. Tywin Lannister read reports of Dornish raids, his face carved stone. "Oberyn's daughters bleed our trade," he told Kevan, quill scratching. The phrase falter, the reach wavers. Kevan frowned, eyeing a map. Stannis Baratheon gains ground north, war spreads. Tywin nodded, penning orders. "We fortify the Riverlands, sway Highgarden. Gold binds what spears cannot." His spies sought Tyrion in Pentos, Daenerys' dragons a distant threat. Tywin summoned Lord Baelish, demanding funds. "The crown's coffers thin," Baelish said, smirking. "Oberyn's legend starves us." Tywin's gaze was ice. "Find gold or lose your head." He sent ravens to Casterly Rock, summoning knights, and to the Arryn Vale, probing Lysa's loyalty. Oberyn's fire spread, but Tywin's steel would douse it, or so he planned, blind to Cersei's unraveling. Smallfolk crowded Flea Bottom's taverns, singing of the viper. "Ilya's avenger breaks the lions," a smith roared, earning cheers. A septon preached against Dorne, but was jeered. Varys, in a shadowed alley, met a Dornish spy. "Cersei's throne frays," he purred, passing a scroll. "Oberyn's shadow grows." The spy slipped a sunburst coin, vanishing. Varys' game fueled Dorne, his loyalty a riddle. Cersei alone summoned Qyburn, her voice venomous. "Find Oberyn's weaknesses, his bastards, his loves." Qyburn bowed, eyes sly. "I'll craft a noose, your grace." Cersei clutched her goblet, dreams of Ilya's screams and Oberyn's spear choking her. Tywin's calm enraged her. She saw cowardice where he saw strategy. "You'll choke, viper." She whispered, shattering her cup, blood mixing with wine. Jaime stood on the red keep's ramparts, King's Landing sprawling below. Cersei's desperation, Tywin's schemes, Tyrion's flight, they tore at him. Ilya's death at Harrenhal, Rhaegar's fall, weighed heavier than his cloak. "What am I guarding?" he muttered, golden hand cold. Oberyn's legend stirred something, defiance, guilt. He'd sworn to Cersei, but her madness threatened to burn them all. In Sunspear, Oberyn trained his sand snakes, Ilya's pendant glowing. Reports of Cersei's panic thrilled him. "She breaks." He told Obara, parrying her spear. Nymeria's whip cracked, Tyenne's poisons ready. Doran's spies confirmed Tywin's muster, but Arryn Stormland's gains and Quentyn's mission to Daenerys fueled hope. "Jaime's blood, Cersei's tears," Oberyn growled, his fire unquenched. In the Stormlands, Arryn swayed more lords, her charm sharp. In the Riverlands, Tyenne's poisons lingered, the Brotherhood's chaos aiding Dorne. Smallfolk songs of Ilya spread, a tide against Cersei. Tywin's knights marched, but Dornish sands defied them. Varys' whispers tightened the noose. Daenerys' dragons a shadow in Doran's web. Cersei stood on her balcony, the city's torches flickering. Tywin's plans, Jaime's silence, Oberyn's fire, they crushed her. "I am queen," she whispered, voice cracking. The lion's desperation roared. But Dorne's vengeance burned hotter, its spear poised to pierce the Iron Throne or ignite a war to end all. The Stormlands roared with gales, rain lashing Blackwater Bay's cliffs. Oberyn Martell, cloaked in Dornish silks, stood in a windswept keep, her mission to fracture Stannis Baratheon's hold and bolster Dorne's rebellion. Oberyn's victory over Gregor Clegane had shaken Cersei's throne, and Doran's orders sent Arryn to sway lords, Ilya's murder at Harrenhal her fire. But Stannis' Red Priestess and Iron Will loomed, and a Lannister spy shadowed her steps. Arryn met Lord Estamont in his salt-stained hall, her charm sharp. "Dorne offers spears," she said, eyes locked on his. "Cersei's madness threatens all, join us and we break her." Estamont, weathered by war, hesitated. Stannis fights for right, his priestess burns foes. Arryn's smile was steel. Stannis fights for himself. Ilya's blood stains Cersei, Dorne avenges her. Estamont wavered, promising men if Oberyn's forces marched. That night Arryn dined with Lady Fell, her words weaving Ilya's legacy. "Oberyn's spear slew Clegane," she murmured, wine in hand. "Dorne's justice can end Cersei." Fell, swayed by Arryn's fire, pledged knights, her hatred for Lannisters deep. Arryn sent a raven to Sunspear, Estamont and Fell ours. Stormlands crack, her ambition burned, Dorne could lead, not follow. A shadow moved in the keep's corridors, a Lannister spy, sent by Tywin, trailing her. Arryn's guard, Areo, spotted him, axe gleaming. The spy fled, but Arryn's dagger grazed his arm, drawing blood. "Tell Cersei," she hissed, letting him run, "Dawn's sun rises." The encounter sharpened her caution. Tywin's reach stretched far, and Stannis' bannermen wavered between loyalty and fear. Small folk in the Stormlands sang of Oberyn, their chants Viper, Ilya, echoing in taverns. Arryn visited Rainwood, meeting Lord Wilder. "Stannis' shadow is long," he said, wary. Arryn leaned close, her voice velvet. "But Cersei's is poison, Dorne's spears are yours." Wilder offered archers, swayed by Oberyn's legend and Arryn's guile. Another crack in Stannis' armor. In Sunspear, Oberyn read Arryn's reports, pride flaring. "My daughter carves a path." He told Doran, gripping Ilya's pendant. Doran, studying a map, cautioned, "Stannis' wrath could crush her. Daenerys is our true blade." Oberyn scoffed. "Dragons sleep. Arryn strikes now." Doran nodded, his spies tracking Tywin's moves, Quentyn's mission to Daenerys a fragile hope. In King's Landing, Cersei raged at news of Arryn's gains. "Oberyn's whore-daughter steals our allies," she spat to Jaime, wine staining her gown. Jaime, haunted by Ilya, urged calm. "Stannis is the threat." Cersei ignored him, ordering Qyburn to poison Arryn's lords, burn Dorne's schemes. Qyburn bowed, his dark arts stirring, but Cersei's desperation blinded her to Tywin's strategy. Tywin, in his solar, learned of the spy's failure, his face stone. "Arryn's bold," he told Kevin. "We tighten the noose." He sent gold to wavering Stormlands lords, countering Arryn's charm. Varys, in a shadowed tavern, whispered to a Dornish spy. "Arryn shifts the board," he purred, passing a scroll. Cersei crumbles. The spy vanished, a sunburst coin in hand. Arryn stood on a cliff, storms raging below, her silks soaked. Estamont's men, Fell's knights, Wilder's archers, her gambit grew, but Stannis' priestess loomed, her fires a threat. She clutched a letter to Doran, "Send spears." Stormland's turn. Ilya's memory, Oberyn's spear drove her. Rhaegar's fall fueled her blood, Cersei's ruin hers to forge. In Sunspear, Oberyn trained his sand snakes, their weapons flashing. Arryn's success thrilled him, but Tywin's spies and Cersei's wrath pressed close. "For Ilya," he whispered, spear ready. Arryn's gambit was Dawn's edge, poised to cut Cersei's throne or draw Stannis' fire. The Stormlands teetered, and Dawn's sun burned brighter, ready to sear the lions or ignite a war in the Game of Thrones. The Westerland's jagged cliffs gleamed under a sickle moon, guarding a Lannister stronghold at Cragspire. Oberyn Martell, the Red Viper, led a band of Dornish raiders, his spear black in the night, eyes burning for Ilya's blood spilled at Harrenhal. His victory over Gregor Clegane had fanned Dorne's rebellion, but Cersei's throne stood, Tywin's gold mocking Rhaegar's fall. This raid, Oberyn's boldest yet, aimed to gut Lannister morale, a spear to their heart. He signaled Obara, her spear ready, and Nymeria, whip coiled, swift and silent. Oberyn whispered, scaling the cliffs. Tyne's poisons waited for guards. The stronghold's walls loomed, torches flickering. Oberyn's heart raced, Ilya's screams, Clegane's laugh driving him. Doran's words echoed, "Patience, brother, Daenerys is our blade." Oberyn spat. Dragons were dreams, his spear was now. They struck at midnight. Nymeria's whip snared a sentry, Tyenne's needle silenced him. Obara's spear pierced another, blood-soaking stone. Oberyn vaulted the wall, his spear flashing, felling a knight. "For Elia," he hissed, fire in his veins. The stronghold woke, alarms clanging, but Dornish blades were swifter, cutting through Lannister men like vipers through grass. Oberyn reached the armory, torching steel and grain. Flames roared, a beacon of defiance. "Burn their pride," he shouted, Obara grinning beside him. Nymeria led raiders to free Dornish captives, their cheers fueling the chaos. Tyene poisoned the well, ensuring death lingered. The stronghold blazed, a wound to Tywin's might, small folk whispering of the Viper's wrath. A Lannister captain, Sir Lefford, rallied men, his sword gleaming. Oberyn met him in the courtyard, spears clashing. "You'll die, snake," Lefford roared. Oberyn danced, his spear nicking Lefford's thigh, venom swift. "Say Ilya's name," he growled, thrusting. Lefford collapsed, choking, no confession given. Oberyn's rage flared, vengeance felt hollow without Cersei's blood. The raiders fled as dawn broke, cragspires ruined smouldering. Oberyn's arm bled, grazed in the fray, but Ilya's pendant burned against his chest. In Sunspear, Doran would rage at the recklessness, but Oberyn saw necessity. Cersei's allies bled, her throne teetered. "Arryn sways Stormlands," he told Obara, riding south. "Quentyn courts Daenerys, we strike here." In King's Landing, Cersei shrieked at news of Cragspire's fall, shattering a mirror. "Oberyn's savages burn us," she spat to Jaime, wine staining her lips. Jaime, haunted by Elia, stayed silent, his loyalty a frayed thread. "Tywin will answer," he said, voice hollow. Cersei's eyes blazed. "Father's too slow, find Tyrion, kill the Viper." Her paranoia deepened, Harrenhal's ghosts gnawing her. Tywin in his solar, rid of the raid, his face stone. "Oberyn overreaches," he told Kevan, quill scratching. "We crush him now." He sent knights to fortify Westerlands, gold to wavering reach lords. Varys in a shadowed alley whispered to a Dornish spy. "Cragspire's fall shakes Cersei," he purred, passing a scroll. "Dawn rises." The spy vanished, a sunburst coin in hand. Small folk in King's Landing sang of Oberyn, their chants Viper, Elia, a tide against Cersei. In the Stormlands, Arryn's alliances grew, Stannis Baratheon's shadow looming. In Meereen, Quentyn pressed Daenerys, her dragons a faint hope. Oberyn's raid was a spark, Dawn's rebellion ablaze, threatening to consume the Iron Throne. In Sunspear, Oberyn faced Doran's scowl. "You risk war," Doran said, map spread. "Daenerys is our path." Oberyn gripped his spear, blood-crusted. "Ilya's ghost doesn't wait, Cersei breaks now." Doran's eyes narrowed, but he nodded, sensing the tide. "Train our spears, but guard our web." Oberyn smirked, Ilya's pendant warm on a Dornish dune. Oberyn stood, stars bright. "For you, Elia," he whispered, Rhaegar's fall fueling him. The Viper's gambit had struck. Cragspire's flames a message. Dawn would burn the lions or die in the Game of Thrones. Meereen's sweltering air pulsed with unrest, its great pyramid a beacon over Slaver's Bay's turmoil. Quentyn Martell stood in Daenerys Targaryen's throne room, sweat beading under his Dornish silks. Oberyn's victory over Gregor Clegane had set Dorne ablaze, but Doran's plan hinged on dragons to crush Cersei Lannister. Quentyn bore a second sunburst-sealed letter, urging alliance to avenge Ilya's murder at Harrenhal. Daenerys' violet eyes pierced him, her dragon's roars echoing below. "Your father courts my fire," Daenerys said, voice sharp, perched on her throne. "But Dawn's spears are far and Meereen burns." Quentyn bowed, Oberyn's fire in his veins. "Cersei's throne stands on Ilya's blood. Oberyn broke her champion, our 10,000 spears await your dragons." Barristan Selmy at her side nodded faintly. "Dawn stood with Rhaegar," he said. Daenerys' gaze lingered, unconvinced, her freedmen's cries outside louder. Quentyn unrolled a map, Sunspear marked. "Stannis Baratheon claims your crown, Tyrion flees, Cersei falters." "Dawn offers trade, men vengeance." He met her eyes. "Elia was my kin, her death demands justice." Daenerys leaned forward, intrigued but wary. "Meereen's chains bind me. What does Dawn truly seek?" Quentyn's throat tightened, Doran's goal clear, marriage, a throne. "A queen's victory," he said. "We fight, you rule." The sons of the Harpy struck that night, their knives flashing in Meereen's alleys. Quentyn glimpsed Regal's shadow overhead, Daenerys' power untamed. Your dragons could end Cersei's reign, he urged later in a quieter hall. Daenerys' silver hair gleamed. And ignite Westeros, I break slavers here first. Barristan's weathered face softened. Dawn's cause is just your grace. Her silence was a storm. Quentyn's resolve hardened. Oberyn's spear, Aryon's Stormland's gambit, Tyenne's Riverland's poisons, they fueled Dawn, but dragons could win it. He sent a raven to Sunspear. Daenerys wavers, fire stirs. Drogon's distant roar answered, a promise of chaos. Quentyn watched Daenerys address her freedmen, her voice steel, Rhaegar's shadow in her. Ilya's legacy lived in this queen, but her heart was Myreen's. In Sunspear, Oberyn read Quentyn's message, Ilya's pendant heavy. Dragons hesitate, he growled to Doran, spear flashing. My raids bleed Cersei now. Doran, in his wheeled chair, studied a map. Quentyn's near success. Aryon's lords, Tyenne's chaos, Daenerys completes our web. Oberyn scoffed. I trust steel, not dreams. Doran's eyes narrowed. Then train our spears, but wait. In King's Landing, Cersei's paranoia deepened, whispers of Dornish dragons reaching her. Oberyn's kin caught monsters, she spat to Jaime, wine staining her gown. Jaime, haunted by Elia, stayed silent, his golden hand cold. Tywin, in his solar, learned of Quentyn's mission. Dawn seeks fire, he told Kevan, voice ice. We choke their allies. He sent gold to the Reach, knights to the Riverlands, his countermove relentless. Varys, in a Myreenese market, met a Dornish spy, his smile sly. Quentyn stirs Daenerys, he purred, passing a scroll. Cersei's throne cracks. The spy vanished, a sunburst coin in hand. Varys' game wove chaos, Dawn's rebellion tightening its grip. Small folk in Westeros sang of Oberyn, Ilya's name a war cry, Cersei's rule fraying like old cloth. In Sunspear, Oberyn sparred with Abara, their spears clashing. Quentyn's dragons will burn Jaime, he told Nymeria, her whip ready. Tyenne's poisons gleamed nearby. Doran's web spun toward Daenerys, but Oberyn's fire craved Cersei's blood now. For Elia, he whispered, gripping his spear, Rhaegar's fall fueling him. Quentyn stood on Myreen's walls, stars bright, Daenerys' doubts await. Oberyn's victory, Aryon's triumphs, Tyenne's venom, they inspired him. For Elia, he murmured, clutching his sunburst sigil. The dragon's stir was faint, but its fire could consume Cersei's throne or burn Dawn in the Game of Thrones. King's Landing's red keep festered under a leaden dawn, its air thick with betrayal. Jaime Lannister stood in the White Sword Tower, his golden hand cold, his white cloak a lie. Cersei's madness, her failed plots, her obsession with Oberyn Martell's spear gnawed at him. The Viper's victory over Gregor Clegane had freed Tyrion, but Ilya's murder at Harrenhal haunted Jaime, her screams and Rhaegar's fall breaking his oath-bound heart. Cersei summoned him to her solar, wine staining her lips. Oberyn's daughters burn our lands, she spat, eyes wild. Find Tyrion, kill the Viper, Jaime's voice was flat. Your assassins failed, Tywin plans better. Her goblet flew, shattering. Father's plans let Dawn mock us, you're my sword act. Jaime stared, Ilya's blood on his house a stain he couldn't wash. I guard the king. He said, turning away, loyalty fracturing in the Tower of the Hand. Tywin Lannister poured over reports. Dornish raids in the Westerlands, Aryon's Stormlands gains, Tyenne's Riverlands poisons. Oberyn's fire spreads, he told Kevan, quill steady. Stannis Baratheon gains north, the Reach wavers. Kevan frowned. The small folk sing of Elia, dangerous. Tywin nodded, penning orders. We crush Dawn's allies, fortify Casterly Rock. His spies sought Tyrion in Pentos, Daenerys' dragons a shadow in his mind. Tywin met Grand Maester Pycelle, demanding control. The faith must silence Oberyn's songs, he said. Pycelle stammered, Ilya's name rallies them, my lord. Tywin's gaze was steel. Then burn their septs. He sent gold to Highgarden, hoping to bind Lora's Tyrell, but Oberyn's legend lingered. The lion's grip slipped, Dawn's rebellion a blade at Tywin's throat. Small folk packed Fleabottom's alleys, chanting Viper. Elia, a bard sang of Cragspire's fall, coins raining. Oberyn breaks lions. A tanner roared, defiance swelling. Varys, in a shadowed tavern, met a Dornish spy. Jaime wavers, Cersei cracks, he purred, passing a scroll. Dawn's sun rises. The spy vanished, a sunburst coin in hand, Varys' game stoking the chaos. Oberyn ignited. Jaime walked the red keep's ramparts, King's Landing's torches flickering below. Cersei's paranoia, Tywin's cold plans, Tyrion's exile, they tore at him. Ilya's death, his failure to save Rhaegar weighed heavier than his sword. "What am I?" he whispered, golden hand useless. Oberyn's defiance stirred guilt. Had he fought for Elia, not Cersei, things might differ. His oath choked him, a noose of white wool. Cersei alone raged at Qyburn. "Find Oberyn's kin, break them," she hissed, wine pooling like blood. Qyburn bowed, his dark arts stirring. "Their secrets will bleed, your grace." Cersei's dreams twisted with Ilya's screams, Oberyn's spear, Tyrion's smirk. Tywin's restraint infuriated her. She saw weakness, not strategy, their rift a chasm. The lion's fracture widened, Dawn's fire burning closer. In Sunspear, Oberyn trained his sand snakes, Ilya's pendant glowing. Aryon's Stormland's triumphs, Quentyn's push for Daenerys, Tyenne's Riverland's chaos, they thrilled him. "Cersei breaks," he told Nymeria, her whip cracking. Doran's spies reported Jaime's doubts, a crack in Lannister steel. Jaime's blood next. Oberyn growled, spear ready, Rhaegar's fall fueling his wrath. In the Stormlands, Aryon swayed more lords, Stannis' shadow looming. In Meereen, Quentyn pressed Daenerys, her dragons stirring. Varys' whispers tightened Dawn's web, smallfolk's songs of Ilya are tied against Cersei. Tywin's knights marched, but Dornish sands defied them, Oberyn's raids a relentless sting. Jaime stood in the throne room, iron throne jagged behind him. Cersei's voice echoed, demanding blood, but Ilya's ghost silenced her. "No more," he muttered, white cloak heavy. The lion's fracture was his own, loyalty to Cersei crumbled, Dawn's vengeance a mirror to his guilt. Oberyn's fire burned, and Jaime, torn, faced a choice that could shatter the Iron Throne or himself in the Game of Thrones. King's Landing's underbelly reeked of piss and despair, its tunnels a maze where Tyrion Lannister hid. Returned from Pentos under a hooded cloak, he navigated Flea-Bottom's shadows, Oberyn Martell's offer burning in his mind. Join Dawn, imp, Lion's Fall. The Viper's victory over Gregor Clegane had freed him, but Cersei's hatred and Tywin's hunt drove him underground. Ilya's murder at Harrenhal stained his name, vengeance his only light. Varys found him in a smuggler's den, his silks absurd amid rot. "You're bold, Lord Tyrion." Varys purred, voice soft as poison. "Cersei's spies seek you," Tyrion smirked, clutching a stolen dagger. "Let them. Oberyn's fire burns her throne, why not fan it?" Varys' smile was sly. "Dawn's sun rises, but the Iron Throne's shadow is long. What's your play?" Tyrion leaned close, voice low. Cersei's mad, Jaime wavers, Tywin stretched, "I know their cracks." He tapped a map scrawled on rags, marking red, keep weak points. Spread whispers, Oberyn's coming, Ilya's avenged, panic her. Varys nodded, eyes gleaming. "And you trust the Viper?" Tyrion's laugh was sharp. "No. But I trust my hate." Harrenhal's blood, Rhaegar, Ilya fueled him. Varys wove his web, Tyrion's words seeding chaos. Small folk in taverns chanted Viper, Ilya, louder, rumors of Dornish spears spreading. A baker claimed Tyrion lived, a ghost to haunt Cersei. Varys passed scrolls to Dornish spies, sunburst coins glinting. "The imp stirs," he whispered, his game splitting Cersei's court while aiding Oberyn's rebellion. In the Red Keep, Cersei raged, wine staining her gown. "Tyrion's back," she spat to Jaime, shattering a goblet. "He plots with Oberyn." Jaime, his golden hand heavy, stared at the Iron Throne. "No proof," he said, voice hollow, Ilya's ghost gnawing. Cersei's eyes blazed. "Proof, my brother's a traitor, find him." Jaime's silence deepened, his white cloak a noose, loyalty to her crumbling. Tywin, in his solar reed of unrest, his quill steady. "Tyrion's return is a spark," he told Kevan, maps spread. Stannis Baratheon marches, Dawn raids, the reach tilts. Kevan frowned. "The small folk love Oberyn." Tywin's gaze was ice. "Then we crush their heroes." He sent knights to guard the capital, gold to Lora's Tyrell, but Daenerys' dragons loomed in his plans. Tyrion moved through tunnels, meeting a sellsword, Bronn, who grinned. "Back to die, imp." Tyrion tossed a purse. "To kill, Cersei first." Bronn's blade gleamed, loyalty bought. Tyrion's wit sharpened, Oberyn's rebellion was his stage, Cersei's fear his weapon. He scribbled a note to Sunspear, "I'm in. Strike soon." Varys sent it, Tyrion's return a blade to twist. In Sunspear, Oberyn read Tyrion's message, Ilya's pendant warm. "The imp bites." He told Abara, parrying her spear. Nymeria's whip cracked, Tyenne's poisons ready. Doran cautioned, "Tyrion's a risk, Daenerys is our blade." Oberyn scoffed. "Quentyn's dragons sleep, Tyrion's here." Aryon's Stormland's gains, Tyenne's Riverland's chaos, they fueled him, Cersei's blood his goal. In Meereen, Quentyn pressed Daenerys, her dragon stirring. In the Stormlands, Aryon swayed lords, Stannis' shadow looming. Smallfolk's songs of Ilia swelled, a tide against Cersei. Tywin's spies hunted Tyrion, but Varys' web shielded him, Dorne's rebellion tightening its grip. Tyrion stood in a sewer, torchlight flickering, Bronn at his side. Cersei's throne loomed above, her screams imagined. "You'll choke, sister," he whispered, dagger ready. Oberyn's fire burned in Dorne, Aryon's in the Stormlands, Quentyn's in Meereen. Tyrion's was here, a shadow to topple the lion or die in the Game of Thrones.